Joining us now with more on the political climate in Washington is Colin Woodall, NCBA's Senior Vice President of Legislative Affairs. Colin, thanks for joining us.
Always great to be with you, Kevin.
It's certainly been an eventful beginning to 2017 in Washington, D.C. so far. Some of the biggest immediate impacts have been on the regulatory front. Can you catch us up on what's happened on regulations like GIPSA and the waters of the United States that can affect cattlemen and women?
Well, we knew with the new president coming in place that we would have a great opportunity here to roll back a lot of the rules and regulations that we have been dealing with and we have saw put in place by the Obama administration. In particular, you'd mentioned WOTUS and the GIPSA rule. Waters of the United States, the EPA rule that would expand their jurisdiction is, of course, top of mind for us. In fact, we know that the president has signed an executive order that has started the process to stop the Waters of the United States rule. It's great news for all of us in agriculture, something we've been waiting for. So we're excited about taking that burden off of us. That just leaves GIPSA as one of the others that we have to address. And really, until we get the new Secretary of Agriculture put in place, it's going to be hard to get a final decision there. But we are in the process of submitting comments to making sure that they understand that this has come up before. We were able to make a case as to why it would not work. And we do believe that Sonny Perdue, once he gets confirmed as Secretary of Agriculture, will agree with us that this rule will take away our marketing opportunities. So we are optimistic that we'll be able to kill this rule as well.
You know, another issue that's seen a lot of activity already this year is trade. Do you mind talking a little bit about the latest on international trade and why it's so important for the cattle industry?
You know, trade's so incredibly important, especially in this market situation we're dealing with right now, where we have a lot of supply and we need to make sure that we've got plenty of demand to take on that supply. That not only means taking care of our consumers here domestically, but ensuring that we have as much access as possible to the 96% of the world's consumers that live outside of the United States. That's why we need to make sure that we have access, and the only way that you get access is through trade deals. So in particular, we're going to be looking at working with the Trump administration to try to get a bilateral trade agreement put together with the Japanese government. This will pick up where TPP left off. That was the one area within TPP that we were focused on the most, and trying to get the 38.5% tariff that we had into Japan taken down to hopefully what will be less than what was negotiated in TPP, which was 9%. So we are going to take the president at his word that hopefully he can get a better deal, and we're going to support him in that effort.
I understand the Senate Agriculture Committee recently held its first field hearing as they prepare to draft a new farm bill this year. What's the timeline on that legislation, and what is NCBA looking for in that new farm bill?
So the current farm bill expires on September 30th of 2018. So really it doesn't give us all that much time when you look at the field hearings that have to be done, passage of a bill in both the House and Senate, a conference committee, and then ultimately signing by the president. But both the House and Senate Ag committees have made a concerted effort to move forward very quickly. Of course, we had the Senate Ag Committee field hearing in Manhattan, Kansas, and also the House Ag Committee have had several hearings here in Washington, D.C., which NCBA has been a part of. When we look at the Farm Bill, we want to make sure that we have a very strong conservation title that protects the programs that a lot of our members utilize, but we also want to make sure that we remove a lot of the red tape that comes along with the application process. These programs are important. We just need to make sure they're as easy to use as possible. We also want to make sure that we are protecting the research title, so that way we have all the funding necessary in order to really improve our production practices and support the research that is done at USDA and through our land-grant university systems. And really our top ask is going to be to make sure that we have a vaccine bank in place for foot and mouth disease vaccine. One thing that we really just don't have right now, and we need to make sure that we correct that in order to respond to any sort of reintroduction of foot and mouth disease here in the United States.
Of course, NCBA's big legislative conference is coming up in Washington, D.C. from March 28th through the 30th. Why do you think cattlemen and women should join you in our nation's capital, and specifically, how do they get registered to attend?
Well, it's just a great opportunity to be a part of the process. When you look at Washington, D.C. and the policymaking process, you have to show up, you have to be engaged, and you have to pitch your concerns. That is why legislative conference is so important for us, because it gives you that opportunity, one, to get an update from us on all the issues we're working on, but two, to be able to take that information, go to Capitol Hill, go visit with all the policymakers and make sure that your voice is being heard. So we're excited about having this come up, especially with the new Congress and the new administration in place. And if you haven't had the opportunity to register yet, just go to our website, www.beefusa.org, in order to sign up and come and join us here at the end of March in Washington, D.C.
There was some chatter online a while back about bringing back government-mandated country of origin labeling. Why do you think that would be a bad idea, Colin?
It's a bad idea on many different levels, but we just have to go back and look at the fact that country of origin labeling was the law of the land for 6.5 years. And in that 6.5 years, it did not help us. More importantly, the consumers weren't really paying attention to it. So we have to ask ourselves, why would we spend the money in order to implement a program, a mandatory government-run program that didn't provide any benefits to us or to the consumer? Not a single credible ag economist can point to anything that we gained in value. So when we keep that in mind, it's hard to believe that we would want to spend the effort to bring this program back, especially knowing that we have voluntary programs in place today that can satisfy that need where it exists. As cattle producers, we rarely want the government coming in and telling us how to operate our business. Why in this situation we want the government coming in and trying to put a mandatory government-run program on top of us? So that's why we remain against country of origin labeling, and we'll continue to do everything we can to make sure that it does not return in the Farm Bill or any other vehicle.
Thanks again, Colin, for your time and for all the hard work you and your team do on behalf of our beef industry.
Thank you, Kevin.